To date, it remains the longest run of democracy in the country. The three earlier attempts have been truncated in their infancy or nipped in the bud in its fruitless stage through military interventions. Some have therefore argued that it is within the multiple evils of long years of unaccountable bad governance by succeeding military regimes and its accompanying repression, as well as the current underperforming democratic experience, that the present security challenge in the country is well situated.
I don't think there is any Nigerian that is an enemy of Nigeria, maybe an enemy of the system.
What we are having today is not just an insecurity, but it's as a result of injustice. Injustice not only by the government in power, but injustice for you and I, Nigerians.
Little wonder then that the liberties offered by democracy through freedom of expression literally unlocked a floodgate of perennial pent-up dissatisfaction that has continued to seep through in the last 14 years, constituting a growing security challenge in the country. First was the militancy in the oil-rich but much pillaged Niger Delta region that has its kinder roots in the form of intellectual engagements in the 1990s.
I do not want any blood spilt, not of an Ogoni man, not of any strangers amongst us. We are going to demand our rights peacefully, non-violently, and we shall win.
But soon degenerated to armed struggle with grave consequences for the economy and collective security of citizens and other inhabitants. It took the amnesty program initiated by late President Umar Musa Yar'Adua in 2009 to rein in the militants and gave a semblance of peace in the region and the country as a whole. However, that peace turned out to be a respite as militancy soon gave way to a much dreaded criminality in the form of terrorism in the northeast. What began like a passing fad has since become a settling nightmare. What many Nigerians read in newspapers or watched in foreign electronic media as tales from distant lands a few years ago has since seized the country by the jugular. Terrorism has no doubt taken its toll on Nigeria, with thousands of innocent Nigerians, including women and children, caught in the blasts of improvised explosive devices. The country's security personnel continue to pay the supreme sacrifice in the hands of these rampaging insurgents, the latest being a bizarre ambush and killing of about 100 policemen and other personnel in one fell swoop by a cult group in Nasarawa State. Few days before that, it was the lot of some 23 policemen in Borno State. These shocking incidents have made many to ask, when is a war? Government has, in response to the alarming but embarrassing situation, declared a state of emergency in 3 states in the crisis-ridden region, the third of its kind in the present democratic dispensation. The rest of the citizenry, far removed from the theater of terrorism in the north, may not count themselves lucky, as the fear of terror may not be too distant from its reality. But more debilitating is the act of kidnap that they have to contend with. This newfound criminal business is already putting Nigeria in the statistics of kidnap capitals of the world. Though incidents of kidnap are awash in the media, especially the high-profile ones, it is believed that many more abductions continue unreported and with ransom paid quietly by those concerned.
We started the kidnapping February. We have kidnapping like 4 times. We have kidnapped 4 people, and in each one I collect 100,000 because the first one then pay 1 million. The second time is 1 million. The third one that person pay 2 million.
The whole accusation was graduate unemployment. That they were graduates out of school, 4, 5, 6 years, no jobs, and they have to do this, risk their life. They have to take part of the national cake.
Was that their grievance?
That is their grievance.
1,000,001 graduates, churn out on daily basis and no job for them. So what they have done now is to assess the environment, and they have come to find out that there is no hope for them in this country. That was their belief, like the chairman of Ejibo local government said, and what they do now is that they will gather, the fellow graduates, some of them will gather and say, look, yes, it may even be some of them that were part of the secret society in the school. They will come out, and the gang they had in the school, they will also transform the gang into kidnapping gang. So nobody is safe in this country.
As the country celebrates yet another number in the growing years of uninterrupted democracy, the reality of insecurity has never been more palpable. In fact, the greatest threat to Nigeria's democracy is insecurity.
I believe that, sincerely speaking, governments need to do something. You cannot go from house to house giving people money. No. When you provide the basic infrastructure, when you provide all the necessities of life, no reasonable person that will have job. Even though I will not subscribe to the fact that crime is the best option for this, but I believe that when you are frustrated, you'll be forced, to take crime as the next option for you to survive.
To build a democracy, you and I must be vigilant. To build a democracy, you and I must be willing to sacrifice. To build a democracy, you and I must be willing to nurture positive thinking and a feeling of optimism. The recurrence to remark that democracy is not urinary dividend. Let us try other alternatives. These are not the kind of thinking that can build the Nigeria of our dream.
Democracy as it is blows like a candle in the wind, and with it, a nation hanging tenuously to avert a predicted date in history. The question is, can good governance help its cause?